NAMIC Atlanta family, welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk. Um, I'm your host, Charles Neal, and today we have the privilege of having Mike McArdle, Senior Vice President and Head of the Big South region over at Comcast Cable. Mike, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Neil, thanks for having me, and great to see you and the entire NAMIC family.
Oh, no, listen, we're going to have a great conversation. The last conversation we had, um, I told you that there was some energy there that a lot of resonance going on, and I wanted to start this conversation off by going back to your past a little, right? You're from Baltimore, blue
Yep.
collar. You started out in customer care, and I think that is the seed to where you are right now. So, can you give us a little bit about your journey, a little career, a little life, and then we'll bring it forward a little bit more.
Sure, and thanks for asking. I literally have grown up with Comcast. I started in 1996. Wasn't married, just moved out, no kids. So a lot of my personal life and my professional life are very intertwined, like many of us. And my growth in the company really paralleled my growth in my life. I originally from Baltimore, Maryland, born and raised there. Actually thought I was never going to leave there, and for most of my career, did not leave the Northeast corridor between Baltimore, D.C., and Philadelphia. Started as an agent, frontline, filled out a paper application, got a binder about this big of training and some IDs to log into systems, and really just enjoyed the technology, serving customers, and the pace of change and innovation. And that's what really has kept me here is the teams I've been part of, serving customers and serving teammates. And that's really been my passion as I've moved through the organization. Most of my career was in frontline operations early on. I was fortunate to be at Comcast when we launched this little product called broadband internet. In 96, we didn't have it. In 98, we launched it. Just a little thing we did. And Baltimore was actually selected as one of the first pilot markets and trial markets. And I was actually selected to be one of the first agents to learn the product, sell it, service it, grow it, expand it. And that ultimately led me to early leadership roles, and then eventually a role in Philadelphia that I worked with all of our markets to expand and grow and integrate the internet business. I stayed in that corridor, spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C. and our D.C. region area, kind of progressing in my career. But I've done everything. I've done call center operations, analytics, field support. I did credit and collections for a while. I never thought I'd do that. That was a bit of a swerve. And then I was later on was fortunate enough to get involved in really the early workings of the company, thinking about end-to-end process improvement and customer experience. That that ultimately led me to a role in 2010 at headquarters again. So it was my second time around at headquarters, working on a ton of things around digital transformation, tools development, proactive communication strategies to customers, and really taking the frontline experience I had, both in customer care, but really the crossroads of technical operations, credit and collection, sales processes, order entry, accuracy, and thinking about all of that as we built digital strategies to launch our first ever My Account app, a whole integrated tool set we call Einstein, and kind of went on from there. So, but always trying to stay grounded in what do our frontline teammates need to serve our customers better. And then finally, on the personal professional journey, I did make that first big move because I am in Atlanta now. I moved here in 2014 to join the Central Division and lead the customer care and CX support, and have been in Atlanta really ever since in 2014, since 2014. And that ultimately led me to last year of joining the Big South region and rejoining the Central Division in this role. And it's just been a tremendous opportunity.
Okay, sorry about this for a second. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're back. I think I went blue for a second. I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah,
Okay, so there's a couple of points in there that we have to drill in on, right? Number one, when your family and friends had the ability to watch this progression, right? Because like you started as an agent. I mean, you said collections, etc. That is a matriculation of a lot. I mean, one person that I could think about who was similar but different was Steve White, right? Um,
Yep.
you probably know that story. I won't go into it. Everybody, we check back. He was episodes ago. Um, but I can't imagine when your family and friends are looking and every 5 seconds they're turning around saying, damn, Mike got another promotion. Oh, Mike's doing this now. You know, how did that, how did you navigate that portion as well, right? Because you talked about, hey, blue collar, Baltimore Ravens fan. I can see the jersey behind you. Um, and there's a curve that goes in on both the professional side as well as the life side in the work-life balance and how you're perceived by your peers, the individuals who are you're working with, and in some cases family members and how they look at you as well. Any
Yeah.
dynamic you want to share in there?
Yeah, I think for me it was really about staying humble all the way, and not changing who you are, how you approach your personal life or your professional life, and certainly the scale of operations, the responsibilities that come along, stress, expectations, those things are real. But for me, it was really about just trying to stay true to myself in my personal life and not letting it get too much to my head,
Yeah.
and staying grounded, and really making sure folks didn't feel like, oh, what does that mean anyway? And there was a moment where folks in my family that maybe don't understand corporate roles as much as like, yeah, what is it you're responsible for again? I was like, well, I lead a big team to serve customers, and I'm looking to build great teams, and that's really my biggest job, and just kept it simple. And then there were other friends of mine that actually worked in the company that have become very close friends, where we were kind of parallel going together in our journey. And there were moments where like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna go for? What role are you in now? And it was kind of these moments where folks were like, yeah, you can keep going. I'm good here, but I respect what you're doing. I couldn't imagine being involved in the kind of things you're involved in. So, but for me, it was always not letting it get too much in your head, staying humble, still being the person I wanted to be, personally as well as professionally. And I think that's really important because what I've learned over the years too is one of the biggest strengths that I think is critical for leaders to build buy-in is authenticity.
Yes.
And if you try to be one person in the corporate world and another person in your personal life, I just don't think that works. And certainly doesn't work for me. And granted, there's always kind of, things you do at work that maybe you wouldn't do in your personal life, and vice versa. But you just want to be genuine and authentic and let people feel that, and know that you're a real person regardless of what level you're at or what amount of success you've had. And the other part for me is, it's not lost on me that a lot of people helped me along the way, gave me a lot of sponsorship and mentoring and support. And I always look to try to pay that forward and pay that back along the journey when I see, emerging talent and people that are looking to do the right things and just need a chance to, show what they got, or sometimes skin their knee or stretch themselves and maybe not be perfect,
Don't go there yet. We're going to have a
Yeah.
section. I want you to dig in on that. But part of what I was thinking about, and I said, wait a minute, I had to write it down. I was watching, a movie I saw a while back, Hunter Killer with Gerard Butler. Not
Okay.
sure if okay,
I have
submarine.
not seen it.
Well, in there, he's addressing the group. He had an emergency. The U.S. had an emergency mission that he had to take part in. He was never a sub captain, and so they're like, well, we have this gentleman here. And so all of the crew are looking at him like, well, who's this guy? What's he going to do? What's he about? He didn't go through Annapolis, etc. And at his first address to the entire crew, he had to look at them and tell them, I came in from the ground up. I did WEPs, I did radar, sonar, blah, 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 blah. And so in some cases, I know your jobs better than you do, but it's not my job to do your job. And
Mm.
everything you were saying earlier, that's all that was going in my head. Like, man, this is that scene right here. All of the work you did. And I look at that because as you transition from customer care and all of those roles that you had previous, now to heading the Big South. Big South is what? Geography largest? Right,
Yeah,
geographic?
largest in mileage and in homes passed, subscribers. It's big. It's, depending on how you measure it, it's in the top three. We actually were reviewing this in a recent meeting. So 146,000 miles of plant of network. We are 900 miles wide and 550 miles north to south. We span from, the shores of South Carolina all the way to southern Louisiana and Alabama up to Little Rock, Arkansas, and 10 states, 14 markets. It's a big one. It's and a lot of great people. I've been fortunate to be out to almost every single market, and meeting the teams that are out there, and it's I'm always so impressed. And I think I go back to my early days. Like, I have such an appreciation for our frontline teams and frontline leaders, and a real passion for helping them be successful, because you just never try to lose that grounding of what it takes to serve customers every hour of every day, and be in homes and be in stores, and they're creating the moments that matter. Our job is to make sure that they can be the heroes and really serve our customers well, and make their job as streamlined as possible, and give them the support that they need.
So one thing you didn't mention was and billions in revenue. And so in my brain, I look at, okay, when you were in collections, you're calling somebody for $100, maybe a $75 bill. Now you're looking and saying, okay, yeah, I have to report into my superiors and my peers that we're making X amount of revenue this month, this quarter, etc. When you look at how you had to transition in all of these roles, and you see how you're running your teams now, I have a sense of how you run a team, and I think it's awesome. But if you can qualify it for us and say, hey, this is the manner in which I lead the team, and what you, from a responsibility set, what you expect the leaders who report into you to I guess amplify.
Yeah, and I'll use my transition into this role, and it's kind of a model that I've used in moving into all new roles. And I really focus on three things early on. First is really a well-defined engagement model to connect across the organization. For me, and for the leaders that are on my team, so we can set an expectation, but also be very tied into hearing from our frontline leaders, our frontline teams, doing those market visits. I do regular skip levels with every director in the organization. So although they're not my quote direct reports, they're still part of the senior leadership team, and we need their input and engagement. We have regular director summits where we get together and talk about strategy and execution and performance. So it's really a defined plan. And I learned that early in my growth career, when I went from like 1 site to 2 sites to like 6 sites. It doesn't scale unless you have a plan. So you got to have a well-defined engagement model and a strategy to stay connected across all parts of the organization. And I think it builds credibility too. The second one was really putting in place performance management systems. So what are the scorecards? What are the KPIs? And not only that, but how do you consolidate that and really zero in on that short list of things you're looking at every day, so you can break down the business, which is big, and every job I've had has gotten bigger. So we're always dealing with scaling up, right? So you have to think about, how do you build streamline and manageability and simplicity with larger and larger organizations. So the performance management systems that we put in place, I think, were really important, and we're always working on those. And then lastly, it's prioritization. You can get overwhelmed in every step in your career, because every time you step up, there's more demands, more things to consider, more actions to contemplate, more projects to evaluate. If you don't have a good, clear understanding of what your priorities are, you're going to be overwhelmed. And you're going to, I always say, sometimes you got to watch out for being a mile wide and an inch deep, because you feel like you're making a lot of progress and you're really not getting as deep as you need to in certain areas. And then you also have to be willing to be transparent about the things that you are deprioritizing. Like, we are not going to take on these things because these are the bigger priorities, but have that rolling view. So those are really the 3 ways I've kind of approached transitioning into new roles: is the engagement model with the team, building that partnership and sponsorship deep and across all levels, and regular checkpoints and commitments, building a more concise performance management system to keep your kind of eye on the ball of all the different KPIs and indicators in the business. And then most importantly, with input from both of those, really setting your sights on what are your big priorities that you're going to drive forward on. And for me, it's also about, how do you drive forward on those priorities, not just for a pilot or a test or some soundbite that's going to make it sound like you did something amazing, but can you do those things at scale and do they succeed over time? And that's a hard thing to do in business because we're often impatient or want things results right away. But for me, the success measures of putting all that together is, are you building continuous success at scale and over time, because you're touching more customers, touching more teammates, and it's proving the test of time. Because a lot of programs are good at launch, but what are they delivering 6 months from now or 12 months from now?
Yeah. As I listen to you, I hear employee experience, customer experience, product.
Hmm.
When we look at the landscape that we're in today, where AI and other forms of technology are prevalent in our ecosystems, or they're at least sticky this time around, how are you using technology to address the employee, the product, and the customer experience?
Yeah, it's a great question, and Lord knows the last 12 months of AI conversations have been proliferated across all businesses and the entire marketplace. I think I've really enjoyed, and actually in my prior role and even in several prior roles, being involved in technology and tools and platforms. We've been doing a lot of work on AI solutions for a long time. We just haven't kind of specifically called them AI solutions. So I would share that technology, and specifically right now AI and other intelligent telemetry things, are not only making us more efficient and quicker, but I think it's really a key to enhancing and streamlining the focus of our frontline team so that they're not spending so much time on the nuances or complexity of order entry or cross-referencing multiple tools and multiple data sets. I'll use a couple of examples. So today, in our platforms, we have a list of recommended actions and information. So we're getting better and better at knowing what are the preferences and what are the needs and what are the things that we think will most resonate with a customer. So in care, I worked on a lot of projects there where we were serving those things up and almost creating more of a tailored experience. So I think that's going to continue to enhance not only the efficiency of business, but the success of our frontline teams and the customer experience, because we're building more of a tailored set of options when we work with them. Digital transformation is going to be continuously enhanced through that and more effective and more personalized and more proactive. And one of the things that we've been rolled out for the last couple of years and continue to scale is a platform we call XIT, Xfinity Intelligent Telemetry, and I was fortunate enough to work on some of the early project teams of that and operationalize it with our technical teams. But really, it's about customer service. It's about proactive notifications of customers. If we think your in-home Wi-Fi isn't delivering the speeds you need, but it's because you have an older device in your home, we're sending you alerts on that. Or if we see that something happened, the weed whacker hit a line, or a landscaper nicked something or bumped something, or you move some equipment around and now it's not optimized, we can start to see those things and send proactive alerts and offer up service proactively. So I think we're going to see that continue to evolve. I think it's going to become more and more real time and in the moment. And I think that's really exciting. I know there's a little bit of sometimes a fear factor of what's AI going to do. I think it's just going to enhance us and make us, one, more efficient, but more importantly, to take that efficiency and invest it more and more in the customer experience and let our frontline teams be focused on what they do best. And that's delighting customers, serving them, responding to them, and reacting to them. So I think that's going to be the most important part of that technology as we go forward. So, but it's an exciting time. And I was involved in the company when we had our first major digital transformation work, and a lot of the similarities, like what's that mean for me? What's that going to do to me? And I think it really is a complementary element that not only is good for the bottom line, but it's good for our teammates and certainly good for customer experience.
Got it. A lot to unpack there, but I want to be respectful of time, and I have a couple of questions that I did want to get over to you. You were talking earlier about networking and mentorship and sponsorship. What's it meant for you? How do you implement it into your organization?
Yeah, it's meant a tremendous amount. I wouldn't be here talking to you if it wasn't for a long list of sponsors and believers and mentors and coaches, both that were my senior members, my bosses, but also peers and even teammates that have had a tremendous impact on mentoring me and teaching me lessons and really trying to take that to heart and modify, tweak, and tune my leadership style along the way from those lessons learned. So it's incredibly important to me. And I would say for me, there's always going to be the P&L to talk about. There's always going to be the KPIs to talk about. Always going to be the big project you want to kind of put on your list of accomplishments every year and tell people about. But when it's all over, whenever the retirement day or I transition to something new, I won't be talking about that. I'll be talking about the individuals that I've been able to support and play some small part in lifting them up, building their belief in what they can do, and giving them opportunities and coaching them along the way. And for me, that's my personal passion. It's something I've always been really focused on. And probably because being a blue collar kid who went to community college, who didn't have all the degrees walking in the door, people were willing to give me a chance and appreciated hard work and someone who wanted to approach it the right way and do it with a level of respect and dignity and teamwork and partnership, and be a good teammate. And that's what I look for. So if folks are willing to do that, and dig into the details and do the hard work, but build great teams, I'm all in. So if anybody's listening, call me. I'm happy to. I love doing mentoring responsibilities and supporting individuals. Some of the folks that you work closely with out of Comcast, I've worked closely with over the years, and hope to continue to see their success. And to me, that's the most fulfilling part about being a leader, is seeing how other people can grow and change the trajectory of their life, in their career and in their personal life.
I remember when last time we talked, the gleam in your eye when you were talking about your family.
Yep.
And I know Father's Day is coming up, or by the time this airs, it may have just passed. But before I get you to talk about family, community impact, blue collar, ground up, even, I mean, if people are paying attention and listening to the conversation, they can hear the sincerity in the things you're saying. But we also, excuse me, we're also talking about the RISE program and what they did for rice. And this is in the area in the Big South, right? The $1 million that they were able to give over. And also the impact you had when everything isn't rosy and we have, discourse that needs to happen in America or in our communities when something bad happens. Talk to us a little bit about that, and then you can let us out with your thoughts on family.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, on the community impact side, I think a lot of people ask me, wow, you've been at Comcast for 28 years. Like, why? Why? That's a long time to be at one organization. And clearly, I've been able to grow with the organization, as we talked about. I've always enjoyed the innovation and the pace and the creativity. But, the other part of the culture of this company, and I've been fortunate to be part of it, is our commitment to the communities that we serve. And I think the RISE program in Atlanta is a great example. The partnership with Jay Bailey and Rice, the partnership with social media influencer Pinky Cole, those partnerships matter. It's a way of working that I know we're committed to, and they work. We've had more applicants for Atlanta RISE program than I believe any other applicant pool ever. Wow. That Comcast has deployed the RISE program. And that's not just a good stat. That's like getting the word out about who we are as a corporate citizen, what we can be, not only to ourselves, but what we can be to small businesses. And I love the stories and continue to play a role in that. And our Comcast Cares Day previously, when back in the day, and be involved in Project Up programs, supporting nonprofit organizations. It's in our DNA. And that's what I love about this company as well. It's kind of this intangible that, yes, we're successful, yes, we're growing, yes, we're innovative, but man, we don't forget that we serve communities. We connect people to what they need to live their lives, to do their jobs, to connect with family, to be successful. And it's never lost on me of that responsibility. And it's not just cable. We're providing connectivity, and we're building platforms for individuals to succeed and communities to succeed. So for me, that's the secret sauce, that the glue of all the success and all the creativity and all the excitement in this company. To me, that's the wrapper. That's what binds people here, and certainly has kept me here for the 28 years. And then the other thing I would say on the personal front, one other thing on the teammate front is our leaning into diversity and inclusion in this company is another example of recognizing the role we play in community, whether it's the community in Comcast or the communities we serve. And I've always been fortunate to work with and lead large, diverse organizations, whether it's diverse in how we look, or it's diverse in how we think, or where we come from. To me, that's invaluable. I mean, that makes teamwork real. That makes teams better, and it's something I've always relied on. And then I'll round it out with a little bit about me personally. When you talk about taking your personal experiences and your business experiences, those are values that I've learned at Comcast and kind of seen in action that I've really worked hard to instill in my children. I'm, born and raised in Baltimore, but my family grew up here in the Atlanta area. We moved here in 2014. It was the first move my wife and I ever did. We were never going to move out of Baltimore, but we did. So that was a big leap. We brought our kids with us. My oldest started high school and my other two started middle school. Those are pivotal moments for parents of your listeners. Those are pivotal years. Those are years like you don't want to screw up. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm taking my whole family to Atlanta. I hope I don't screw this up. And again, Comcast came through because they provided an environment for me to grow professionally, but my kids and my wife to experience a whole nother part of the country and build friends and have family visit and see this part of the country. And as much as I was born and raised in Baltimore, and I'll always be a Baltimore guy and love my Ravens and hometown family, my family, and I feel like a big part of my role in the Comcast family really grew up when I made the move here in 2014. And now all my kids are going to Georgia schools. My oldest son graduated UGA with his engineering degree and his MBA, and my middle son is a junior in Valdosta State in Georgia, and he's pursuing a nursing program degree. And then my youngest son just graduated high school, and he'll be heading off in the fall to Athens and going to be a dog at UGA. So never in a million years would I thought I'd be saying these kind of things and what the plan was for the family. But things happen for the right reasons, and fortunate for me, I'm attached to the right company that's helping me make those things happen, and they've never let me down.
Mike, I told you in advance we were going to have a great conversation.
Yeah.
The easy statement for me to make is I enjoy listening to your journey and the story because, we laughed and joked about the fact that we both worked at MCI, 30 years
A long time ago.
And by the way, congratulations on your milestone birthday. That's coming up.
Thank you. Thank you.
And, to know what it takes to go from there to, just this slice of your journey, because there's still so much more to come, congratulations. And I just wish you, the most success that you can have.
Well, thanks, Neil, and thanks to you and the entire NAMIC organization. Excited to be on here and share a little bit of insight, and hopefully it's helpful to individuals that are listening and maybe early in their career or midway through their career or looking at the next chapter. Find that right organization, but stay true to yourself and be authentic, and don't be afraid of the blend, right? I mean, so much of my professional journey is intertwined with my personal journey and vice versa, and that's the only way I know how to do it. So
we appreciate you joining us today.
Thanks, Neil.